Bienvenidos. Welcome everybody. Namaste. 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 Everyone. Welcome to another session of we're reading The Spiritual Essence of Man, the Chakras and the Inverted Tree of Life by Master Choa Kok Sui. We're towards the end of the book. What? That's I can't see. No, I'm getting notes in school. Yes, for sure. I did that. Love notes for my girlfriend. Yes. Anyway, I left it on her book. Anyway, so what I was gonna say is that welcome. Let's do a quick invocation, and we are going to cover the chapter on the unknown. Is the one before last chapter? It's called the unknown, right? Chapter 12, on page 169. Okay. So shall we invoke? To the Divine Supreme and Absolute God, to my spiritual teacher, to all spiritual teachers, holy angels, holy masters, to all the divine hierarchy, to all the saints, to the divine Lord Christ, the world teacher, and to all the great ones, to all the spiritual helpers, spiritual elders, all the divine beings of light, with your help and in your name, we humbly thank you. Thank you for your divine light, divine love, and divine power, for the divine mercy, good health, protection, guidance, and divine illumination. Thank you for the priceless teachings, the priceless understanding, and the priceless love. For the mercy, compassion, and divine help and guidance, we humbly thank you. So be it. Okay, welcome. All right, so somebody asked about Master Choa's teacher. Master Choa Kok Sui is my teacher, right? My spiritual teacher, my Sadguru. Somebody was asking about the picture on the wall for Mahaguruji Meiling, his Master Choa's teacher. Master Choa's teacher was Mahaguruji Meiling, right? So, who's Mahaguruji Meiling? They were asking where he was from. So the picture that is there is one of the incarnations of Mahaguruji Meiling. So that specific incarnation is Lord Padmasambhava, also known as Guru Rinpoche. He was a Buddhist monk, right, from India. And so he actually brought Buddhism to Tibet. He's responsible for having brought Buddhism to Tibet. So he was from India. He brought Buddhism to Tibet, right? And he was he also helped on creating the Tibetan script. Tibetan was spoken, alas, it was not a written language. So he helped making on creating the Tibetan language. He was one of the people that helped on creating that language. That's why you see that some characters, right, in Tibetan are similar to Sanskrit. So, which is what they used in India, right? Like the Om and things like that, and Hum, there are some similarities if you look at the script. In any case, but that's one of his incarnations. It's just a very famous incarnation, so that's the one that is on the wall. Because we don't know how Mahaguruji Meiling. Mahaguruji is Meiling. Holy before when Master Choa, yes, it's in the book. When Master Choa, she's showing me the this picture here. It's in the front of the book. So if you go to page, I guess 4, but in Roman numerals at the beginning of the book, you would see a picture of here on the gold side here. It's Mahaguruji Meiling, that's, or Lord Padmasambhava. So that's the incarnation. That's one of the incarnations of um, Bodhisattva Meiling. So before, when Master Choa was in the physical body, Mahaguruji Meiling, or his teacher, right, Master Meiling, he was called Holy Master Meiling. So he was called a Holy Master. Later on, right, he became a Bodhisattva, so which is higher than a Holy Master. And so generally we always give the title. Even when we say Mahaguruji, that's a title, it's not his name. So Maha means, remember, great. Maha means great in Sanskrit. Guru, right, is the teacher, spiritual teacher, literally dispeller of darkness, right? And then Mei Ling, or Ji, is respectful. So great, respected spiritual teacher, Mei Ling. So that's what Mahaguruji Mei Ling. Sometimes we used to call Master Guruji, right? Respected spiritual teacher. So sometimes we used to say Guruji or Master Ji. It was they both languages, right? That was just a term of endearment, but it was really, respected master, respected spiritual teacher. So, but yes, but he came from. But in this incarnation, he came from India. But sometimes someone said China before, and why did they say China? Because Mei Ling, right? Master Choa met Mei Ling in the inner world. So he was a teacher from the inner world. Well, Master sometimes said, he used to say that Master Mei Ling was an immortal, like a Taoist immortal initially, and then, of course, um, it's like Master Duankul, right, or also known as Master DK, Master Mei Ling, and different masters. They, like Master DK was said to be a Buddhist, an abbot from a lamasery, right, in Tibet. Master Mei Ling, could have been a Taoist immortal and all these things. But at the end of the day, and then you have also the Lord Christ and different saints, but it doesn't matter, but they all talk about everything, right? So there are, because after a certain point, you go beyond culture, you go beyond, um, country, language, you go beyond all these things, right? And so, and that's why the Lord Bodhisattva, Mahaguruji Mei Ling, used to talk about Lord Christ, used to talk about things that were from different traditions. Didn't have to be only from his tradition. Because after a certain point, you grow beyond, the limitations of country, of language, of ethnicity, of, the limiting factors of the teachings that you were taught. These are just vehicles. The teachings are just vehicles. And sometimes they come with certain culture from, that is attached to it. Just like, you know, it's like the Lord Buddha used to say, you know, imagine that you are in one shore, right? And you're trying to cross a river. You want to go to the yonder shore, and you get on a raft to cross the river. It's a very big river, so you gotta get on a raft to cross. You get into the raft, you cross, and when you get onto the yonder shore, you achieve your objective. Would it be smart for someone to, for that being attached to the raft, you carry the raft on top of your head, or you drag the raft around the yonder shore? Do people grab their boats and put it inside their house? No, right? So it is only to get you to a specific point. It's to remind you of your true nature, that we're not the body, that we're the soul, that we are virtue itself. It's to remind us of who we are. So all these teachings, No matter the tradition, no matter where they come from, it's all about the Divine Supreme Being and you, and that relationship and that oneness, who we truly are. So you can say that in many different languages, you can say that with many different terminology, but at the end of the day, that's the goal: oneness, and realizing our true nature, and oneness with God. So, and the Lord Christ said it right in his 2 commandments. He summarized the 10 commandments into two, right? Love God above all things and your neighbor as thyself. Why? He used to say, whatever you do unto someone, you do unto me, because we're one. Whatever you do unto someone, you do unto God, because we are one. So it's about the Divine Supreme God, realizing one's true nature and what that true nature is, which is oneness with God. And that in its own nature, it's virtue. Stop. There. Spirituality 101. So it doesn't matter where people are from and what they've done. At the end of the day, the teachings are universal, and the teachings go beyond one tradition or another. After you reach a certain point of in your spiritual evolution, you expand into all the other traditions, and you already know, right? So the Akashic records, everything else, everything is already there, right? You just have to tap into the knowledge. So, so he's Master Choa's main teacher, Master Meiling, Mahaguru Ji Meiling, right? And so, yes. So, in any case, I hope that that answers the question. So, anyway, welcome to reading the the spiritual essence of man. Okay, so we are on the unknown. We're on page 169, I believe. Wow, we're getting towards the last chapter, towards the end of the book. This is great. Yes, because chapter 13 is the last chapter, and that's the Kabbalistic meditation in the AM. So it's just the meditation itself. Okay, so the unknown. All right, so page 170. The author says, there are supposedly only 11 Sephiroth or chakras, but the book of Revelation mentions the tree of life having 12 fruits. The tree of life, which bears 12 manner of fruits. Revelations 22:2. Did Saint John the Beloved make a mistake in counting? I love Master Choa's humor. This is very strange because in traditional Kabbalistic teachings there are only 10 Sephiroth, plus one hidden Sephirah. However, in pranic healing and arhatic yoga there are 11 major chakras within the body, plus the 12th chakra located outside the body, 12 inches above the head. Right? What do we say when we're meditating, doing the meditation on Twin Hearts? Be aware of the brilliant star above your crown, right? And then I always say what? 12 inches or 30.5 centimeters above your head. This is like Master used to say all the time. So now you know why you're focusing on that. So, therefore, in pranic healing and arhatic yoga, there are also 12 chakras. This is the meaning of the tree of life bearing 12 fruits. You understand? The tree of life. So just to make sense, just real quick, just because I just want to make sure you guys get what we're saying. So here's the tree of life. This is the Kabbalistic tree of life. And it has how many sephira? How many circles? It has 11, right? It has 10 plus 1 hidden. But above, right above, right, there is the 12th chakra. Okay? And that is what John was trying to convey. That is an inner teaching taught in parables. You have, so you have, the inner teachings, and you have esoteric teachings and exoteric teachings. So exoteric is what? Outside, right? Esoteric is inside. So exoteric is the teachings that are taught to the public. They're still teachings, but they're taught in parables. The inner teachings are the teachings that are taught for the only the inner group, for the specific students, right? So that because they're ready to understand, they're ready to understand these concepts, they're ready to hear them, and they can use them. It's like when you're teaching children. When you're teaching children math, you start with addition, or you start with telling them the numbers. Then you start counting, referencing what a number and is for. But at the beginning, all they learn is the symbol. They learn what is the number called. They are associating a name to that symbol. To the 1 is 1, 2, that's 2. They don't even know, that's the qualitative aspect of the number, right? So numbers have a qualitative aspect and a quantitative aspect. Actually, all things have quantitative and qualitative aspects. So the qualitative aspect, one of the qualitative aspects of or qualities of the number is the name of it. But then they learn what that means. Because to this day, it's very difficult to define number itself. If you try to define number, it's very difficult to define number. We take it for granted. But there's not one book that has the same definition of number, of the word number. Every book is different. Or at least 9 times out of 10 is different definition of number. Because it's a philosophical definition. It's difficult to really, it's a very abstract concept. So to concretize it is difficult. So you have, and actually, so number, right? Then you have to teach the child to say, okay, this is for counting. You say 1, 2, 3, and sometimes even they think that the names of the, if you have kids, they think that those are the names of the fingers too, and no, so they're 1, 2, 3. So they're trying to associate, right? And you say, and then you start, oh, you have 2 balls, 2 bananas, 2 apples, or you have 2 beans. You have the little beans or the beads or the pasta sticks, all these different things, and you're trying to show them, right? So it takes time. You can't start talking to a 1-year-old about quadratic equations. You understand? Because the guy is not going to understand what you're talking about. He's just going to look at you and smile, right? Or he's going to get angry with you. What are you doing? So it's the same for us. So the people that are ready, the people that can learn, the people that are that were with the Lord Christ day in, day out, that want to learn, that are open to learn, that are ready, they're with Him day in, day out. So they're more spiritually mature. They want to learn. They're open to learn. They're okay. And these are very abstract concepts. So just by John talking about the tree of life, you know that they're already learning about Kabbalistic. It's very likely that they're learning Kabbalistic philosophy, or the Kabbalistic tradition. You understand? And so, and which wouldn't be surprising that the Lord Christ would know. And but there is also an even higher knowledge, because it talks about a 12th Sephirah that is outside of the tree of life. So that 12th Sephirah from Revelations, right? You're asking why 12? So then Master Choa is explaining that with this. But what is the correlation? Because in the Kabbalistic tradition, there's only 11. Well, this is why, because of the 12. Because there is actually the, the Ein Sof, Ur, above the tree of life. And so what is being done here is that is being united together into one tree of life. Obviously, John the Beloved understood something, not just said in public or in the middle of town or in the mount or whatever, because you build upon these teachings so you can understand them. It's not just something that you're just gonna say out there. People are not gonna understand what you're saying, and they're gonna get upset. And that's why the Lord Christ said, do not throw your pearls or your or knowledge, very special, deep knowledge, before swine. Do not throw your pearls before swine, because trampling underfoot, they'll turn on you. And Christ found out, even he said that, but he found out about that because the same thing that happened to him. So, anyway. So, you guys got it? Good? Okay. So then he says, Ein Sof, Ur, and the 12 Sephirah. Above the tree of life, this is on page 170. Above the tree of life are Ein Sof, Ein Sof, Ur, and the 12 Sephirah. Again, to our friends that speak Hebrew, please, my apologies for my pronunciation. But you can read it, and then you guys can pronounce it. So anyways, it says, above the tree of life are Ein Sof, Ur, and the 12 Sephirah. The literal meaning of Ein is no. Sof is limit, and Ur is light. The literal translation is therefore no limit light, or limitless light. Ein Sof Ur means infinite light. Where does this infinite light come from? Above Ein Sof Ur is Ein Sof, which means no limit or infinite. And so, like Master used to say, infinite what? Well, the infinite source of the infinite light. So it says the infinite light comes from what is called the infinite, Ein Sof. The infinite what? Obviously, the infinite source. Ein Sof therefore means not Ein Sof therefore means not only the infinite, but the infinite source from which the infinite light comes from. Ein Sof comes from Ein. The literal translation for Ein is no, or nothing. Okay. Here it talks a lot about the incarnated soul, but I cover this real quick, which is infinite light. It comes from Ein Sof, correct? Ein Sof is infinite source. Let's go to page 172, actually, and we can talk about it. and then after we're done with this explanation, we'll be done for tonight. So you see here, right? You have above the head. So the tree of life is in the physical body, right? The 11 chakras or 11 sephiroth, yes. So the tree of life, the Kabbalistic tree of life, represents the 11 sephiroth or chakras on the physical body. So now John the Beloved talks about tree of life with 12 fruits, right? So that is including this one, which is a chakra, right? Incarnated soul. So the 12th chakra. That is also called Ein Sof Ur. Apart from that, you have stuff here that are the source of that. So this is beyond. This is always called the unknown. Okay? So here you have Ein Sof and Ain. So we said, what is Ein Sof? Well, Ein Sof is the infinite. The infinite what? The infinite source of what? Of light. So Ein Sof Ur, infinite light, comes from Ein Sof. How this happens is that from the Divine Supreme Being pours a portion of itself, right? It expands from a portion of itself and creates the monad or the divine spark, the Ain, right? Which is in the Trinity, you have like 3 here, right? So that's like a Trinity. From 3, 1. You are one person with 3. So, like in the Christian tradition, this will be Ain will be the spirit, the higher soul will be the soul, and the incarnated soul or the Ein Sof Ur, right? The incarnated. What is incarnate in Spanish? Incarnate, inside the flesh, right? Carne means flesh, right? Incarnated soul, the soul inside the flesh, which is this. So in the Christian tradition, you will hear spirit, soul, and flesh. When they talk about the flesh, it's really, the depends. Like sometimes the consciousness of the flesh, when it's unregulated, that it can make you do all these things. It can control you, etc., make you do not so good things. Or also the flesh is the incarnated soul that you're incarnating in the body, right? The soul being incarnated. So in any case, you have 3 or the Trinity here: the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. That's why the Holy Spirit is also seen as a dove above the head. Around here, is it not? When you see a picture of the Lord Christ, you see a dove above, like a dove flying above his head, downward, right? And where is it? It's right up here. Right where Ein Sof Ur is. So, and sorry, so you can see the picture there. Okay. So you have, so Ain, it says that it means, literally it means no. Ain means no or nothing. So what does it mean, no? I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. You have first Ein Sof Ur, infinite light, that comes from Ein Sof. What is Ein Sof? The infinite. Or the infinite what? The infinite source. The infinite source of light, or the infinite source of infinite light. Okay? So then what is Ain? Where does Ain Sof or the infinite come from? Well, it comes from no. It comes from nothing. Does that make sense? Doesn't make much sense, does it? So what do they mean by nothing? Where does the infinite or the infinite source of infinite light come from? Well, it's nameless, right? Why? Because it is beyond the world of names and forms. Every time we name something or we say something, we limit it. So if we say, oh, this is This is cold. Well, it cannot be hot. Well, this is a person. Well, it cannot be anything else other than a person, or whatever. But every time we say something, when define something, we give it a name, we limit it. And this is, if already Ein Sof is the infinite or no limit, imagine Ain. Ain is true no limit of no nothing. Like, it is beyond any concept, any word, any thought. It's unfathomable. It's like God. Why? Because it's like straight. It's an emanation of the divine supreme being, the spirit. What does spirit means in Latin? Breath. So spiritus comes from, spirit comes from the Latin spiritus, which means breath. That breath of life, right? That was given to Adam to make him live from the divine supreme being, which is right there. This is telling you that it is because Adam is alive because he has that breath, he has that spirit, that emanation from the divine supreme and absolute. So Ain, it's beyond words, it's beyond explanation, it's beyond everything. That's why it says no. Like Elmer Simmer, according to Joseph Campbell, used to say that, it's something that I liked listening to some of Joseph Campbell's lectures. He said that the best things can be said. Like he had a friend, Elmer Simmer, and his friend used to say that the best things can be said. The second best things are misunderstood. That's what we're always fighting, right? The different traditions and what school of thought has, knows this and what school of thought knows that. So the second best things are misunderstood because we're trying to explain the first things that cannot be spoken about because we're limiting them and we don't have things in our language to really explain them. They must be experienced, right? Oneness with the divine supreme being, achieving oneness with all things, with the universe or whatever, all of these things need to be experienced. They cannot be explained. So the best things can be said, the second best things are misunderstood, and the third best things are conversation. So, but it's like that. So that's why the name here, Master Choa ends that section saying, Ein Sof comes from Ain, the literal translation for no or nothing, or the literal translation for Ain is no or nothing. And then he goes to the next chapter. But I wanted to at least say why it is no or nothing. It's because it's referring to that is beyond anything that you can think of. And anything that you say that it is, they'll say no. Oh, but is this? No. But is that? No. It's pink. No. It's this. It has 4 arms and 4 eyes and 2 legs. No. It's good. No. It's bad. No. It's medium well. No. It doesn't matter. So they're all no. Why? Because when you say something, then you're already limiting it to that. And it's much greater. It's much, much, much more vast. It's just beyond anything that we can imagine. So, and so if you see on page again 172, because we have, right, we're threefold beings, right? I don't know if you can see that in the camera. So we have Ain, then comes Ain Sof, and then comes Ain Sofur, right? Above the head, from top to bottom. So from top to bottom, Ain is equal to, it's equivalent to the Father, Ein Sof to the Son, Ein Sof Ur to the Holy Spirit. right? And so if you see that, if Ain Sof, or the higher soul, right, or the infinite source, is as a symbol, right, is equated to the sun. Who's the sun in the Christian tradition? Christ, right? So that's the sun. Or Jesus is the Son. So you have the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. So the Holy Spirit is that which creates, right? It's the one that came into Mary and created the body for the child and all that. So the Holy Spirit is about creation, right? It's divine intelligence. It's ray 3, right? Active intelligence. Ray 2, love. Ray 1, willpower. So ray 1, or willpower, is akin to the Father. Then love akin to the Son, and the active intelligence, ray 3, akin to the Holy Spirit. And after this, we're about to finish, but for tonight. But the thing is that in this moment, right, when you see this and you remember the words, and so once there is a point. Thank you. So there's a point that says that that when you equate the Son, or the Christ consciousness, to the higher soul, right, or to the ray of love, you become one with that, right? So you're achieving oneness with your higher soul. So when you achieve oneness with your incarnated soul, that's self-realization. When you achieve oneness with your higher soul, is called soul realization. When you achieve oneness with your divine spark, right, or the Ain, it's called God realization, because it's an emanation, direct emanation of God. So, but what it says on the on but if but the higher soul, when you become one with your higher soul, you become one with it, meaning you are the one and the same. Correct? You can say, which is and it represents the Christ or the Son, and that's why when Jesus says, "I am the truth, the light, and the way," when he is one with this, you understand? No one enters the Father except through me. What is the Father? Ain. You cannot go to Ain if you don't go through Ein Sof first, the Son. You understand? And you cannot go through there if you don't first go through Ein Sof Ur. But that's what it means. You cannot achieve God realization if you don't first achieve soul realization. That's what that means. So, in any case, that's that. So next week we're going to read about the incarnate. So if you can, please at home read about the incarnated soul. That's the next section. You're gonna get to page 172, which is great, right? You can take a look at that, and then on page 175, the Buddha nature and the spiritual fetus. Very good. So please try to read that, and also the higher soul and the causal body. That should be good enough. You can read ahead, of course. I encourage you to do so. But that's that. So you guys have any questions before we close? No? Okay. Shall we? To the Divine Supreme and Absolute God, we thank you for your great blessings. To my spiritual teacher, Master Choa Kok Sui, Lord Bodhisattva, Lord Meling, and to the hierarchy of all the holy angels and archangels, to divine Lord Christ, and to all the great ones, we humbly invoke for your divine and priceless blessings. Thank you for your divine light, divine love, and divine mercy, for divine good health, protection, guidance, and divine illumination. Thank you for the priceless blessings, for the priceless opportunity to serve. With thanks, we thank you. Thank you for the priceless teachings, priceless knowledge, and for the priceless blessings. Thank you. You can open your eyes. Thank you. Amma Namaste. Thank you for coming. I'll see you guys next week. Amma Namaste, everyone. Amma Namaste. Amma Namaste. Thank you.